Hello, everybody. I'm a practicing therapist and a doctoral student of psychology. Today, we're going to talk about something that can actually really destroy attraction, particularly for avoidant individuals. And a lot of you guys are asking about this in the comment section, kind of knowing what are things that you can do so that attraction and connection doesn't fade within the relationship. And it's a really good point, and I don't think I've really covered it too much on this channel. So thank you for anybody, all the people who highlighted this, because I think it's really important to know. And the very first one is any form of parenting them. Avoidants particularly don't like this. It can be really challenging for avoidants to feel suffocated, and I'm going to explain a little bit as to why. But first, let's talk about what that looks like, okay? So this includes, but is not limited to, reminding them of appointments, reminding them of deadlines, doing job applications for them. Yes, I have couples that admit they have done that, and it really created, I have some couples that admitted that this was one of the difficult times, because let's say he was in between jobs and she was really upset about that, and she kept doing job applications for him, and he felt like even more uncomfortable and detached. And it was, sometimes it's so bad that they'll shut down in the bedroom, they'll shut down with intimacy entirely, they'll stay out of the house late, and it's just because they feel uncomfortable about this. And so avoidants react very poorly to being parented, which you can imagine because, like I was saying, their childhood, a lot of times their childhood was very controlling and very suffocating, and they had to learn to be independent, but at the same time they had to do what their parents thought was best for them. And so it's a very tricky balance, and it basically taught them that they never want to feel suffocated again, and they have to be as independent as possible. And so when you parent them, it really rubs against those wounds, and it makes them feel very uncomfortable, and it's hard for them to be attracted to something that makes them feel horrible about themselves and the relationship, because they continue to be triggered, okay? The next one is nagging more than you are clearly communicating. People nag in relationships. I see it all the time. It happens. And I'm not telling you don't nag. It's a little annoying to everybody, but in general, it's natural. However, if you are finding yourself nagging at a higher frequency than you are clearly communicating, then this is an issue. And it's an easy fix, I feel, because once you fix this, your partner will feel more attracted to you almost immediately. Clearly communicating how you feel. Sometimes the reason why people do not do that is because they're afraid of rejection. But what sometimes you do is you might repeat reminders and instructions because somewhere you feel like it's not going to get done otherwise, or you might sometimes repeat because you feel like you can change their mind. However, if you communicate clearly, not in a nagging way, you're putting yourself emotionally forward. It makes you vulnerable. So let's say, for example, you're asking your avoidant partner to take out the trash, and you feel like you don't want to say it in a vulnerable way, which would be clearly communicating, I would like if you could take out the trash because I feel like I'm always the one taking out the trash. And while that may not necessarily be true, I do notice that I am the one that takes out the trash much more often. And it would mean a lot to me if you could take it out tonight so that I feel like the chores are a little bit evenly divided. That would be communicating clearly. However, a lot of people might just say, can you please take out the trash? Or I'm just reminding you, please, by tonight, take out the trash because we have to take it out by tomorrow morning. The trash people come. And you keep repeating these things continuously instead of clearly communicating not only what you want, but why you want it, right? That can really help. The next one is you make excuses to others and yourself about the lack of, let's say, effort, maturity, or follow through, whatever it is, okay? For this one, what can really help is looking at your partner from a logical perspective instead of leaning too positive or negative. Because some of you, especially if you're fearful avoidant, you lean really negative. And if you're anxious, preoccupied, you lean extremely negative when you're really hurt. And so both of those things are not healthy. Look at your partner for who they really are. Let's say you have a, I don't know, your dismissive, avoidant boyfriend, okay? He is, let's say he's, I don't know, he struggles with expressing his emotions. He doesn't answer text messages all the time, but he is very physically affectionate. He's kind to you. He has tried to change. He never cancels on you. He has admitted that he struggles with commitment. He has admitted he's trying to change. He is really bad with phone calls, but he's trying. And so we have painted a picture of someone who has some positive and some negative based on relational issues, etc. Looking at your partner from an actual, real, logical standpoint can help you to not make excuses, but also appreciate them for who they are. The next one is thinking that you did something such as like crashing out or overreacting, and now you destroy the relationship. Fearful avoidants do this probably the most, but I think anxious preoccupied does it as well. You do something, whatever it may be. We all make mistakes, and then you feel horrible and guilty about it, and now you're stuck on that, and you're fixating on that, and you think the relationship is destroyed, and so now you try to overcorrect. This is where fearful avoidants do this. So now you're trying to pull away, or you're trying to remain as calm as possible, instead of just moving on with it and just going back to your relationship. Now you feel like there's a dent in the relationship, or the relationship is ruined. And the reason why this can actually hurt attraction is because a lot of times you behaving this way shows that you're not authentic, and you might be very anxious and on edge, and you might be a little bit irritable because of that. And that can create your partner to feel a little uncomfortable or not as like genuine around you, because they feel like they're not really, they can't read you. And sometimes it can make dismissive avoidance feel like, should I pull away? Like, am I bothering you? Whatever that is. And so that can make a little bit of an uncomfortable situation, okay? The next one is oversharing too much in the dating stage. When you guys are married, I don't care what you guys do. If you guys want to share everything, that's fine. I think that works for some marriages, not every marriage. I'm not saying hide things. Some people are so comfortable, they are, using the bathroom in front of each other every single day and having conversations. People do that. To me, that's a little annoying, but some people do that, and that's completely fine. And that's different, right? You're in a long-term relationship, you're married, whatever that is. But if you're in the dating stage and you're telling your partner about how your mom, I don't know, she was an addict or whatever it is, and your dad left you, that might be a little much. I understand if you want to be vulnerable. You could mention that you had a pretty difficult childhood, and, that's why you never want to do drugs, because you grew up with addicts. That's different, right? But it's very important to realize how you share those things. The next one is sacrificing time you spend on your physical attributes for the sake of the relationship. So you spend so much time trying to fix the relationship and solve the relationship and make sure it's perfect that you don't focus on yourself. I've had some patients admit that they're feeling so overwhelmed with their relationship and marriage and putting so much into their relationship that they don't shower as much as they used to. They stop doing their hair, whatever it is. And that creates a lot of issues with attraction. And of course, attraction is not only physical. It is a component of it. And so that's why it's very important that you spend time on yourself. And the reason is not because I'm saying you're getting unattractive if you're neglecting yourself. That's not what I'm saying. I'm saying that you sacrificing and putting yourself almost last can almost make your partner feel like you don't value yourself. And that part is the unattractive part, if that makes sense, okay? And the last one is playing games to get them to step up. I understand that you want your partner to change. Most people who are with avoidance want their partner to change. That's like 90% of the people who come into couples therapy. And I get that. And change takes time. Everybody should be evolving and growing as their marriage and relationship evolves. I don't think there's anything wrong with that. However, playing games is not going to get you where you need to go. And it does destroy attraction, because a lot of times avoidance finds someone who plays games as a sign that they're insecure and that they don't communicate clearly. And sometimes avoidance feel like it means that you're afraid of rejection. Some people might even perceive that as like clingy or too emotional, because it's almost like you feel so inferior and so lacking of yourself that you feel like you have to play games because you won't get it if you ask outright. Or it's almost like the reason why it may come across a little bit needy to some avoidants, not all of them, is because when an avoidant, let's say they test you, they're not doing it in the sake of, I'm going to test you to see if you like me, right? I'm going to test you to see if you care. That's not how the reason they test. They're actually testing you, are you going to let me be myself? Which is still its own issue, right? But they feel like if you're testing, let me see how you care, they feel like that in of itself can be a little bit needy. And I'm not saying that's wrong or right, but I do want you guys to have healthy relationships, even if the truth may hurt. I just want you guys to have information so that you can have better relationships. So let's go ahead and summarize, and then we'll wrap it up. Parenting them, nagging them more higher frequency than clearly communicating, making excuses about their behavior instead of actually logically perceiving them, thinking about something that you did, whatever it may be, and then feeling like it destroyed the relationship. So it just means that forgiving yourself. Oversharing too much in the dating stage. Sacrificing time that you spend on yourself and putting it towards the relationship. Kind of like neglecting yourself. And the last one is playing games to get them to step up. I hope this video is helpful to somebody. Please like, subscribe. I'll see you in the next one.